Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff, Tam McManus and Charlie Adam here with me to talk football. And of course, we'll read out some of your messages in the live feed as well. And if you want to, if you download the PLZ Soccer app, you can, as many people have done, they go into submissions and you can just type something and it drops immediately into our basket and we can read it out as well. Or indeed, if you want to and you want to talk about your team, you can record a message as well. And if we use the video on the show, we'll send you something special. Simple as that. But the app has all the breaking stories and there's lots to talk about. European football at the forefront of our minds with Rangers and Celtic involved on Thursday night against Sparta Prague and Bayer Leverkusen respectively. And we'll also look ahead to the weekend's football and the burning news issues of today. Simple as that. Ruffy, I've mentioned to more than a few people and they're well aware of the fact we're in our 10 years. We've had lots of different guests, lots of special guests, lots of different pundits over the years, but we've never had anyone who's gone for a sunbed and then come on the show. Have we ever had that, Ruffy?
No, I mean, that's an image thing, you know, it's when you've got an image to live up to. Your photos in the national newspaper.
Yes.
You know, along with a column, you've got to look good.
Yeah.
But some people just take it too far.
Absolutely.
I think you went on 5 minutes too long.
Yeah, I feel as if there is a moment in your life, Charlie, where eventually, I don't know if it happened to you at Blackpool when you eventually went up to the Premier League, but there's just that little moment where you lose sight of reality. Is that fair?
It does. That happens to everybody, and Tams is obviously going big for too long.
Yeah, absolutely. You've gone through your...
My hero, Ruffy, I'm trying to get him the same colour as him.
Yeah, you've gone through your kind of a
go
bond.
abroad.
Yeah. 7 minutes in Sunset Beach.
You've gone through your kind of a Bond villain phase. You've gone through your Papillon nightmare haircut phase, and this is another phase. But hey, listen, you're still trying to hold on to your youth.
Right in a couple of days.
No, absolutely. When it dies down, I'm roasting sitting next to you. Lots to talk about. Steven Gerrard in a COVID sweat with some of his players. Ange Postecoglou hits back at his critics. We've got vaccine passports still at the forefront of our minds. Fans' behaviour. Griffiths in trouble. And of course, the wonderful world of Lionel Messi. Just a few of the things we'll be talking about on the programme, and we'll be hearing from managers and players as well. So ahead of that match, Sparta Prague, Rangers, Celtic, Bayer Leverkusen, here's how it fits into the British clubs involved in Europa League action. This is the fixtures for Sparta Prague Rangers, as we mentioned. Legia Warsaw against Leicester City, Celtic Bayer Leverkusen, and West Ham United against Rapid Vienna. Sparta Prague Rangers is 5:45 on the Thursday, and with worries on players, Charlie, that might not make it again. It makes it doubly difficult, although Sparta have their own problems.
Yeah, they do. And listen, I think when the COVID situation, it could just bring a surprise out of nowhere, and let's say Rangers are obviously waiting on test results and things to be for this game. So yeah, it'll be a worry because you won't be able to prepare properly for the game. Obviously, they would do as much as they can, video analysis and work on the pitch, but it's another tough game away from in Europe, and I think they need to get at least something out of the game to try after that result against Lyon in the first game.
Yep, this is what Steven Gerrard had to say ahead of this match. We are well aware it wasn't the best of starts in the Europa League. Our plan is to go and win the game. It's important we take something from the match, ideally 3 points. We have 2 big efforts to give and then reset for the international break. We know Sparta are a top team, but we're going to fight for all the points available in all of our remaining games. I think in the press conference he became a little bit irked, Ruffy, at the suggestion that Rangers are not actually firing on all cylinders or as good as they were last season.
I would say that's a fair comment. And I think the standards that Rangers set last year in the league and in Europe were absolutely superb. I don't think they've hit that yet, so he's got to stick up for the team and the players, obviously, but I think if he's up front, he'll know that some of the results in Europe last year were absolutely superb, and I think they will have to lift their game. It's different going into Europe. It's a different level of player you're coming up against, and they will have to up their game to take something out of this European game. I think they've got the players there to do it, and a point would be a great result.
Yeah, as far as Sparta Prague, they drew their opening group game with Brøndby, so they'll be keen to try and get things going at home especially, but I'm just looking at them, and they've got more than a few injuries. 8 first-team players are a worry for them, although sometimes we always treat that with a pinch of salt, Tam.
Yeah, we did. Celtic played, was it Sparta Prague Celtic played a few years ago,
Aye.
and they had the reserves out and they spanked them at Celtic Park, so I wouldn't be reading too much into that. There'll be a strong side over there, they're at home, they have a big crowd behind them, so Rangers need to go there, and I feel as if they need to get something out of the game. They need to get at least a point. I think if they go, get beat and then Sparta Prague are sitting on 4 points maybe, that's a big gap to kind of make up for the top two.
I think about the Prague game, I think, is there a ban on supporters and is only children or something allowed in the game?
Are allowed in with the adults.
But I was hearing, I think Rangers staff were mentioned to me that I was speaking to them before the game, and I think the ultras are waiting for them when they get off the flight. So it's going to be a big atmosphere around the hotel and issues going on there. So they just have to keep focused. But Rangers I think can win this game. Steven Gerrard's obviously gone for I think it's over 50 games now in Europe as Rangers manager, which is some achievement now. As a British manager, that's probably it'll be as bigger than Brendan and things like that. So it's some achievement. But this is a big game for them. And like I say, if they can nick a point, 3 would be brilliant, and put them right in the group again. Yeah,
it is some achievement, and some achievement when you look at the level they've been playing and the results that they've recorded as well. I think that's where Steven Gerrard really, his credibility and his stock as the Rangers manager started to increase first and foremost, and then the ultimate desire was to win the league, which they ended up doing last season. As far as the opponents are concerned, here's a little insight into Sparta Prague.
Rangers travel to Prague for the second season in a row, but this time it's to face Sparta, not Slavia Prague, as they look to pick up their first Europa League points. Sparta are 128 years old and the Czech Republic's most successful club. They're managed by Pavel Vrba, who took over in February of this year. The game is at Stadion Letna, but it will be only children inside as the club serve a ban for racism. 36 Czech titles and 15 Czech cups are what puts Slavia ahead of everyone else in the country, and they do have European pedigree, finishing in 4th place in the 1992 European Cup. The team have key players for the national team, including captain Borek Dokal and teenage sensation Adam Hlozek. Lucas Julis, who scored 5 times against Celtic last season, is still injured, however. Now, Julis ran riot as Sparta beat the Hoops 4-1 home and away in 2020. Whilst Rangers' only encounter with Sparta was in the 1991 European Cup, when Sparta won on away goals at Ibrox following a 1-0 victory in Prague. The team made Europe via their second place finish in the Czech League and opened the group with a 0-0 at Brøndby. They're unbeaten in 4 and would fancy their chances of picking up 3 points at home after Czech success against Scotland all of last season.
Yeah, I mean, even if the ultras are waiting, Ruffy, I mean, players are used to all that kind of noise up. I'll tell you, I don't think you played in it, but I can remember Fenerbahce against Rangers. My God, there was 20,000 of them inside the ground. And when the Rangers bus was coming up and the press bus was coming up, there was flares and bombs going off everywhere outside the stadium.
Yeah, the old school used to be the roadworks. There was no roadworks in sight, and you go to your bed, and then all of a sudden, 11 o'clock at night, there'd be and everything going on. So it's moved on now, it's people in person who are causing all the noise up. But no, it's not. It's Charlie. It's not a good thing, to prepare for a game when you've got all that going on. Because sometimes it does get a bit silly when the ultras are. You don't know what they're going to come away with. So, I hope Charlie's right that the security's there to deal with it.
Yeah, Hugh mentioned on the feed here, basically a draw would be the least we would need tomorrow night. Take that, then try and get full points from the home games. Ronnie says every Rangers player must be at 100% to get either a win or a draw. Playing the way they've been at the moment is not good enough at European level. We shall see. It's a tough game for them. It's going to be a big ask. But then again, they have produced good European performances over the last 3 seasons, and we shall see on this one. Give us your prediction, Ruffy.
I'm going to go 1 each.
1 each on this one.
I'll go 2-1 Rangers.
2-1 Rangers for a win. I'm going to go a draw as well, Tam. 1-1.
I think it depends on what team Rangers have got out. I think if they're at good strength, obviously the COVID test coming back. But I think Sparta Prague will beat them. Yeah. I think it'll be 2-1 to Sparta.
Okay, there you are. It's all about opinions on the show. You definitely get them, that's for sure. What do you think? Do you think Sparta Prague can get the 3 points, or can Rangers go over there and get minimum a point, possibly more? Give us your thoughts on that as well. Don't forget, if you want to tune in on a regular basis, Monday to Friday, all you have to do is hit the subscribe button and you could win yourself some prizes. You'll get all our unique video content. We've got some lovely features coming up over the next few months. I'm going to get Tam, Charlie and Ruffy in to do some quite extraordinary things that we've got planned for them. I haven't told them yet. Obviously we'll need to assess on a regular basis just how red Tam becomes before we contemplate getting him involved in any action. But we will be constantly bringing you special guests, players, managers and regular features, so it's well worth tuning in to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. What about Celtic against Bayer Leverkusen? It's a tough one. Leverkusen, as Hugh McDonald mentioned yesterday, have had a good start in the Bundesliga. Here's a little insight into the German side.
Celtic host Bayer Leverkusen on Thursday night in their second Europa League group game, aiming to get their campaign back on track. Leverkusen take their name in part from the year of their inception, 1904, and the local pharmaceutical giant Bayer. They play at the modern Bayer Arena and are managed by Gerardo Seoane, who's been in charge since the summer, having previously been at Young Boys. Despite being one of Germany's biggest clubs, Leverkusen have never won the Bundesliga, coming second 5 times. They lifted their solitary DFB Pokal in 1993, but they have lifted this trophy before in 1988, whilst they lost 2002 Champions League final to Real Madrid at Hampden Park. Their team is spearheaded by Czech star Patrick Schick, who still gives Scotland fans nightmares after his exploits at Euro 2020, and youngster Florian Wirtz is one to watch. Jeremy Frimpong will also likely play. He was signed from the Hoops back in January for £12 million. These two sides have never met before, but Leverkusen did ease past Rangers 4-1 in the Europa League last 16 in 2020. A 6th place finish last campaign secured Europe this season, and they started the group stage off with a 2-1 win over Ferencváros. The team are on form, having won their last 3, and they've only lost 1 all season. They'll pose a massive threat to Ange Postecoglou's men on Thursday.
Yeah, tucked in nicely behind Bayern Munich at the top of the Bundesliga. I don't know about you, Ruffy, but if I was Joe Hart, I wouldn't be coming off my line too much with Patrick Schick hovering about.
No, certainly not, and I'm sure he'll remember that very, very clearly if he's done his homework. And you know, I think he's got more than that. You know, he's got more than that than chipping people for halfway line. We saw in the Euros, he was top class, the movement he's got and everything. But Hugh McDonald's put the fear of death into me now after yesterday. Our German correspondent, you know, he had them away up there, so I don't expect anything for Celtic. I mean, I'm saying Rangers aren't up to the standard of Europe that they were last year. I don't think Celtic are anywhere near, you know, where they should be. And I think it's going to be a torrid night tomorrow night. I do think they'll score, but there's no evidence to say that they won't lose anything, so I'm going to go 2-1. Yeah,
Juranovic out for a couple of weeks. Kyogo, McGregor still not fit enough, despite the fact they are involved in some form of training, but they're not going to be back there. I suppose James McCarthy is available. He picked up a knock at the weekend. We haven't seen the best of him yet. I just think without McGregor and that experience as well, they're a little bit exposed in the middle of the park. Listen, even if McGregor was in, I still think Leverkusen are going to give them a torrid time, Tom.
Yeah, I fancy Leverkusen strongly, to be honest. I think Celtic would need to be at total full strength to give them a proper game. They're missing key players, McGregor, Kyogo, James Forrest. So I think Leverkusen will win. I think 3-1 to Leverkusen, 3 or 4-1 to Leverkusen. I think Celtic will get a down tomorrow. Thursday.
I have to share your view on it. I mean, Ange Postecoglou is just again. It must be something in the air. If Steven Gerrard's getting a little tetsy with some of the journalists, then Ange Postecoglou reckons quite a few are condescending towards him with regards to the scale of the job that he's taken on.
The only thing that I don't sort of like and is the condescending nature of the questions, that somehow I don't understand that if we don't win games of football, I don't understand the magnitude of the football club, that somehow I'm in charge of this sort of rebuild and I've got no idea what the ramifications are if I don't get it right. And maybe that's the intent. Maybe people just want to be condescending. Some people, not all, some people have been fair with their criticism, scrutiny, but I think some people just want to be condescending towards me. They've been from day one. They probably don't think I deserve to be in this spot, and that's fine. I mean, it's kind of neither here nor there for me.
I always think, you know, the Celtic and the Rangers job is one of those jobs, Charlie, where certainly in my experience, the PR people never really put down a newspaper or give them details of a radio host or a pundit or a TV pundit who said something positive. They'll say, by the way, they've said this is what's happened, here's somebody who's bang out of order. You know, there's not really... all the noise that's coming his way, he started on a negative because people knew the Eddie Howe thing dragged on, then suddenly up comes Mr. Postecoglou from nowhere. But he just has to disregard that. I mean, there are, I think on this programme, I think we've cut him some slack on the basis of saying, listen, he needs to be given time to build his own team. Whether they're struggling and stuttering at the moment is irrelevant.
Yeah, no, listen, they're not the position where they want to be. They want to be either first or second in the league, you know. But at the moment they're not. They're not getting the results on a regular basis to do that. Listen, he knows how big Celtic is. It's just like you say. If you fall below that, you're open to criticism. Doesn't matter how well you think you're playing or you're not playing. It's Celtic and Rangers. So no, I think that. Listen, it'll take time, but this is a big game for them, and you know, it's another challenge that. It's very, very difficult to see them getting a result, but it's, you know, Ange knows what it's all about being a Celtic manager. He understands it. I'm fortunate enough to meet him a couple of times in the street. I'm living close to him, so it's, you know, we all know what Celtic's all about. It's just getting the right players on the pitch at the right time. They've not really had a settled team and a squad, and that's the big thing. He's not had his best players available all together, and once he gets that, then it'll be, I think it'll be a totally different Celtic team.
Yeah, Ruffy, should he be able to distance himself from that noise? The only thing I would say, and this is where the pressures of, is we're talking about potentially Bayer Leverkusen coming and giving them a good spanking. The only problem is when he's trying to build the side, he cannot allow the team to get, you know, too far detached in the league race, because that brings its own pressure, and certainly European results go against you. We watched Brendan Rodgers and his Celtic side being dismantled by Paris Saint-Germain, still continue to play the same way. Barcelona absolutely battered them in the Nou Camp, and more than a few clubs have come to Celtic Park and given them the runaround. So does he need to maybe, while he wants to play a certain way, maybe be a little bit more cautious?
Possibly. I don't think he wants to be spanked the way Tom's talking about 4-1. I think the supporters have not had enough of it, but the results like that will just tip them over the edge. You know, they expect a lot better, whether they've got a first team available or not. You know, they want a performance, and it's up to him. You know, I think his problem is that he's not gained any bonus points. He never came with any bonus points to get an extended leeway of not doing particularly well. Like Steven Gerrard come up, and because he was Steven Gerrard, he got time, you know, and the supporters bought into because he was a wonderful player and giving him time as a manager. Only wins will get him, you know, a bit of buying time.
Well, he started off as a negative, Ruffy, because he came as second choice and nobody knew him.
Yeah, he came for Australia. You know, he's never probably been at a game where there's been 50,000 people screaming, you know, for the rooftops.
I think that's a bit harsh. He was managing Japan, like they've got 60,000 people at a game. He was at one of the biggest clubs in Japan.
But is it the same type?
It's the same atmosphere, absolutely. It's the same
pressure to it.
Yeah, because you put that pressure on yourself. As a manager, you want to win every game. Listen, going to Celtic Park in front of 60,000, it's not any different than going to play at Old Trafford in front of 60,000.
No, that's a different argument. You know, you're talking about
60,000 people. They could shout, they could do whatever they want to do.
Well, they can.
It's about the game. It's just understanding how to set your team up and the dynamics of how your team want to win the game.
There's
but there's a difference between the Japanese culture and the Scottish culture.
Well, listen, he's been national manager. He's went to World Cups. He's vastly experienced. So I'll have to stick up for him at that little bit of it that he's.
We're not criticising on that basis.
I just think
we're disagreeing with you on the fact that I don't think Japan in 60,000 is anything compared to 60,000 Celtic fans who, at this moment, this country is knee-jerk, irrational, you know, at times can call for a manager's head in the most insane period of time. I think the pressures are far greater than Japan. Manchester United, it's the same. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's under the same type of scrutiny as Ange Postecoglou is getting now. You've got to get results. I'm wondering, Tam, if as Charlie says, if he gets the team that he wants out in the park, that's a different ball game. But right now, with a team of the calibre of Bayer Leverkusen, the start they've had, you know, it's like Betis. the last game, Celtic are 2-0 up. Now, automatically, I'm thinking to myself, Charlie, 2-0 up, shut up shop, take somebody off, leave the one player up on his own and try and defend it.
Yeah, but it's difficult because you're 2-0 up, you're so engrossed in the game, so confident in the game that you think we can get the third. And that's just the mentality. The players have got to take responsibility at times as well.
Yeah.
So I think Celtic have been spoiled over the years, and the managers that they've had, they're having a bit of a tough time, and you know it's different. But no, I just think that, listen, this is a big game for them, but you know Celtic are at home. They should be confident enough to go. Maybe the level of players are no they're used to.
He's fallen into my trap prediction.
I don't think it'll be as spanking as you think. I'll go for 2-1 to Leverkusen the other way.
2-1 to Leverkusen.
I just think that his squad's not strong enough. There's not got enough depth in his squad, but that's not his problem. That's not his fault. He was brought in at the last minute because all the eggs were in the Eddie Howe basket, and he's come in at the last minute. So I think he's taken a bit of unnecessary criticism. I think if you're going to aim blame, it's got to be at the board for bringing him in so late. Yeah. And then he's signing players willy-nilly or other place, you know, bringing them in and trying to mould the team.
But the board's not going to get it. The board never get it unless it's crisis time.
No, Ruffy, they have got it. I mean,
aye, when it's down, when it's really, really bad. You know, at this moment, he's the only one that's going to get it.
No. I don't agree with you. My God, it's a game. It's a whole programme. I don't agree with you.
Have we got the same bug as what Ange and Stevie have got?
Well, absolutely, because I don't agree with you, because I think every pundit worth their salt and every journalist who's looked at this have looked at Ange Postecoglou's appointment and said, okay, might be second choice, but he's been derailed by the board. Yep. Some of the signings weren't his. Mm-hmm. He then has inherited a group of people who are not good enough. Yep. And the odd one or two players he's got is quality that he's retained, McGregor. So you give him another deal. But he's brought in a couple of signings that are his own, look the part. But I'm sorry, if he's persevering with a Yeti. A Yeti will mean Celtic will struggle to finish second in the table for me, because he's not a goal scorer. So I think everybody's well aware that Ange Postecoglou needs time to build and mould his side, but he was operating at a negative because that board derailed him.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I think that if you're going to be aiming blame, you've got to look at the board. But you know, Ajeti wouldn't be playing. Let's be honest, if Kyogo was fit and whatever, and the Greek boy was fit, he was signed, he wouldn't be near the team. But he's got to play him. They can't get rid of him because they just paid what for him, $5 million a year and a half ago. They can't sell him. Nobody will take him. So he's got to play him. They've nobody else unless they bring a young boy in for the reserves. So I've got a certain degree of sympathy for Postecoglou, but you know, going into a big game against Bayer Leverkusen, had a very strong Bundesliga team with the squad, the team he's going to have out tomorrow. Can I see Celtic getting a result?
Yeah, I can see 3-1 to Bayer Leverkusen, and again, we want to be positive, but you've got to be realistic about it. You say 2-1, what did you say, Ruffy?
2-1, I said.
2-1 as well. Well, listen, we'll wait to find out exactly.
Do you think Frimpong will get the red carpet for the price that they got for him?
Do you think you'll get the big cheer?
Do you think he should be getting a cheer and a clap and delighted that we got 11 million?
Well, to be fair, if you were doing the deal, then I'd get 2 million.
Oh, no chance.
But
I'll let him go for free.
I don't think he's one of those boys that you'll get any kind of a consternation, bother with any kind of a real criticism coming.
No, what I'm saying is, I think he should be getting the right for the amount of money they got from him.
Oh yeah, they should be giving him a huge.
They should be. Aye.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's better. He was better than what they had, and he still, I thought, was at times a little bit suspect defending. But he was a good player going forward.
I thought he was a good player. Defensively, I was suspect at times, but that's just because of the way Celtic play. The modern day fullbacks, they push him on. He played as a winger a lot of the times. To get £11 million for him was fantastic business for Celtic. I think he's a good player. £11 million.
He wasn't slow to say I never wanted to leave.
No, aye.
Yeah, well, listen,
it was Lenny.
Listen, we've encountered badge kissers before and said that in the team, Tam, haven't we? So, you just got to put up with it. Here's how the table looks for Celtic in this one, because I think the 3 goals that they scored has managed to get them just above Ferencváros, but Bayer Leverkusen, Real Betis, I think as you would expect, are the 2 teams who'll be battling it out for positions 1 and 2 in that one. We think it's going to be a difficult night for Celtic and a win for Bayer Leverkusen. I don't think too many people will be thinking this could be one of those European nights, special nights, where they come up with a big one. there will be some ardent Celtic fans who think that, but I'm not so sure. Anyway, we've given you our tuppence worth on that. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the PLZ Soccer YouTube channel. On to matters closer to home. Rangers and Hearts have confirmed, and I think other clubs are looking to get this vaccine-proof operating this weekend, Ruffy, ahead of the international break, just to do it as a test run to see how difficult it's going to be in the operation, and whether the technology all works.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of onus on the supporters as well to realise how difficult it's going to be for the people who are monitoring this situation. You know, we hear sometimes that, you know, when the ticket suddenly working, you know, the fans go a wee bit hairy and that. So I think both sets have got to be, you know, acceptable. There will be wee hiccups in this one, and they all have to work together towards us.
Yeah, there was a feeling, Tam, that maybe the government was going to give everyone a couple of weeks of grace on this, but I think the clubs feel as if they've got to make sure that everything's in place.
Yeah, I think it's a good time for them. It's a couple of weeks to practice it, you know, and get kind of implementations in place where they can go and spot check people coming into the game. I think obviously the 18th it will be, you know, you've got to have it. I think next couple of weeks you can try and practice things and put things in place. So I think it's a good thing. And if you've not got your vaccine passport on Saturday, I mean, what's going to happen? Do they not let you into the game? We spoke about it in the show on Monday.
I wouldn't like to be a steward.
You've got a season ticket and they don't let you in.
It's a big thing, and it's a shame for these stewards who are minimum wage sort of thing, and they're going to get absolutely battered in the pillar post.
I hope not.
I hope no. And like Ruffy said, I hope that the supporters are understandable. It's good now that they can do it before an international break, and then they've got a 2-week period to work on the problems that they've got, and hopefully after the international break, you know, it's all up and running properly. But yeah, I fear for these stewards and the people that are, you know, on the gates and things like that.
I'll tell you another thing about it though, Ruffy, and I don't want to get down the, you know, get a vaccine, don't get a vaccine. That's your choice. This is a football show, and I can't be bothered reading half the nutcases who, you know, believe the earth is flat and, you know, and are heavily critical of the stance we've taken on it. The stance is quite simple. If you don't have the double vaccine, you're not going to a big arena, you're not going to a pop concert, you're not going to the big games.
Yeah, and you have to be realistic and look at the stats. It's still very dangerous out there. There's still a lot of people getting taken into hospital. There's still a lot of positive cases. So we've not got rid of it yet. So we've got to be seen to be doing the best for everybody, not just football supporters, but for the whole kids and everybody, you know. So it's just been positive. I'm right behind them.
Yeah, well, the Premier League is down south. It's talking about rewarding some clubs who have the highest number of players vaccinated as well.
SFA did that as well.
I don't think they've got the dosh to do
No,
it.
but it's like you say. But I think it's like you say. If you want to go to concerts, you want to go to nightclubs, you want to go to games, you have to do it. And if you don't, maybe their privileges are taken away for you. That's all it works. So it's up to people individually if they want to do it or no. And I think it's right that they get the passports, and hopefully we can move on from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should be another couple of million quid a team or something, wouldn't it, in the Premier League?
Yeah, I know.
The needles out like that, boom, boom, somebody like that. Everybody a quadruple vaccine, get it in you.
Queue.
I've had 4 of them.
Exactly. What about, listen, we always, at time, we love to talk about football, love to talk about players. We're going to talk about wonderful players in a moment, Tam, but fan behaviour is never too far away. Slap in the wrist, I think, for Aberdeen and for St Johnstone with their fan behaviour in the UEFA qualifiers that they were involved in, because some Aberdeen fans invaded the pitch, which you don't want to see. St Johnstone fined, of course, there was flares going off in the St Johnstone end. I think they've got a £1,900 fine. Not a lot, but just basically a slap in the wrist. David Wotherspoon picked up a 3-match ban for his elbow.
Yeah, I don't think there's any complaints with that.
No.
You know, it might be a while before St Johnstone are back in Europe, to be honest. They were playing this season, but I think there's no doubt about that. That was a ban. The Aberdeen fans, when they scored the goal, a few of them on the pitch, listen, that's just a wee bit of exuberance, as my old friend Rod Petrie said.
Yeah.
But St Johnstone fined £1,900. You know, I just think it's a small slap in the wrist, isn't it?
I love that you've held on to that line. Good old Rod with the exuberance of the cup final.
£1,900 for throwing the flares and the objects onto the pitch. I noticed this morning. Did you see the incident between Barnsley and Stoke when the coaching staff were on the touchline?
Yeah.
So the ball's gone, and obviously Stoke are drawing the game, and one of their coaches stops the ball, and Dean Holden runs towards the official, to one of their players, the manager, to get the ball hanging, and it comes into a scrap, and all of a sudden one of their guys comes round the side and whacks him in the chin. So Rory Delap runs out, and it becomes a Barney and all that. And they're all like fined $2,500 in a 4-game ban. Two of their staff another $2,000 in a 3-game ban. Rory Delap got like £1,800 fine in a 1-game ban, and Dean Holden got like a $2,000 fine in another 1-game, something like that. It was just ridiculous, but it just shows in, like, you know, say £1,900 St Johnstone.
Yeah, but St Johnstone, to be fair to them, I think what's taken into consideration is, you know, their previous record. I mean, it's just, it's an isolated incident, isn't it? A full Rammy's a great one. Have you ever been involved in one, Tam?
A full Rammy?
Yeah, punch up, or, you know.
No, not really. No, on the pitch.
No?
No.
Just
no.
Off the pitch?
Off the park. No, but I did get chased in the street with 2 Hearts fans one time. When I came to a nightclub in Edinburgh, and I shouted something, and just as well I was quick back in, because the two of them chased me all the way to my house. Aye, about 10 minutes, when he stopped, I was knackered, right to my front door, and shut the door, aye.
I was in that famous nightclub that we used to go in Sauchiehall Street. No, the classy one.
Yeah.
And I was in the toilet. And
Is this a Thursday?
I can't remember when night it was.
Was this a Sav?
Yes.
I was in the toilet, and there was 2 guys next to me, and they're chatting away, and I hear Alan Ruff and Frank McAvaney's in here the night. See if I see that boy Ruff, he's getting it. I think I actually ran out without pulling my zip up.
Some things never change. Charlie, have you ever been involved in a Rammy on the pitch?
Oh, I've had a couple off the pitch in training, yeah.
Yeah.
But we kind of disclose it on here.
All right, good stuff.
But actual fighting, we put somebody in a training park?
Aye.
Yeah, you'll release it in the book though, won't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You'd be doing well to beat the Hibs Rangers one as soon as that was everybody.
Yeah. This is great. You'll love this.
Everybody.
This is a great story, because the thing about it that I remember about that day, Ruffy, because I think I was at the STV first time around, is the fact that there was such a real
tackle.
Was Graham?
Against George McCluskey. There's such a real buzz around Scottish football because he'd been back, because of the players he was signing, and of course, Hibs had not a bad side.
Yeah, we were playing well, but the unfortunate thing was it was Graham's first game, and obviously the persona of what he was. Somebody in the Rangers dressing room told him that one of the Hibs players was going to have him, and I think it was Stuart Beattie. But obviously Graham mistook McCluskey for Beattie, so he thought he'd get in first, and he hit McCluskey, and honestly there was 5 holes in the back of his leg, but for the studs.
His sock as well, remember?
Aye, and it was just a complete and utter bedlam, and there was 21 players having a go.
What were you doing?
I was in the goalpost, but
What were you looking
you
at?
have to reason. No, they have to do it.
He was the only one who wasn't involved.
I was the only one that never got booked, and the 21 players all got booked, and people said to me, "Why did you not get involved?" But people didn't know I'd already been booked.
Yeah.
I had booked because I was complaining about the penalty they gave Rangers. So if I'd have got involved, I'd have get sent off.
Yeah.
So that was the reason, and it's a fair
run.
run. It's a fair run up the other half. So
Yeah, exactly. And
he's
not known for his fighting, to be honest with you. Tremendous buzz at the time. I remember it, Ruffy, well, that game. So that's the fan behaviour. Thanks to lots of people posting their messages, remembering that game and other points that they want to talk about. The Premier Sports Cup, the semi-final dates have been announced for the teams in the last 4. Celtic will play St Johnstone on Saturday, November 20th at 5:15 at Hampden. So that really kind of, from a journalistic point of view, Tam, and a pundit's point of view, just kills off your Saturday night, doesn't it? 5:15 is a terrible time.
Yeah, it's a bad time to have a game of football. I think Hibs the next day is a Sunday, isn't it? I think that's 4 o'clock, and supposedly the trains and all that. The Hibs Rangers game is a Sunday, isn't it?
4 o'clock. We're the same. Changed their game to Aberdeen just to suit American TV. 6 o'clock on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Scandalous. Crazy.
Is it up there?
No, at home.
At Dens.
Yeah.
Fat Sam's after it.
No. Past that.
Is Fat Sam still open?
Aye.
Yeah, it's still there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Adam slams American owner.
Brilliant.
Suit anything else, it's already a suit American TV.
Yeah, I can see it now. It's brilliant. Yeah, Adam slams Melms. Set to. No, listen, I'm with you, Charlie. I mean, the times are outrageous, and again, fans are asked to go at these times and try and get, especially a Sunday, which is an absolute nightmare. 4 o'clock kickoff.
But it used to be they'd make the games at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, so everybody would be drinking that much. And if you make the games at 5 and 6 and 7, the fans have got a free drinking session before they go to the game.
Yeah. Well, listen. When do they take into consideration the fans in this country with regards to this? We've sold the soul at times with the television deals, and of course the power of the other big leagues that have to have the best of schedules, and Scotland has to somehow work its way in between them. And of course Premier Sports are putting in a bit of money as well, so they have to be accommodated. There are swings and roundabouts on this one, good and bad. What about Steve Clarke talking about the fact that he would like to bring in, Charlie, some younger ex-players, to come in there and try and help the squad, boost it. He wants every bit of ammunition he can to try and get every ounce out of the players he has.
I'm delighted to hear that. Obviously, I spoke to Nazy a couple of times while he was away, and he was a big part of it. Even during the Moldova game, I was at it, and Steve had him involved in it, mic'd up. Was talking to him about it. He says he was, big parts of what the talks were during the camp, and he loved it. But no, obviously Gary Calderwood is just reading the names there. These lads are getting the opportunity, and it's brilliant. Scott Gemmell said the same to me when it was. I seen him at one of our games, watching it. One of our lads against Livingston. He said the same, that he's going to try and get ex-players involved in any of the age groups to go. I think it's a great experience for them, especially coaching and being around it. So no, I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to use.
Give me a call, Steve.
Yeah, give it a call, Steve. Adam available. I think. You're not too far away. I'm not suggesting you're going to chuck it now, but it's the type of thing that it's invaluable to see somebody walk. I always think to see somebody walking on the park. Charlie Adam walks on the park, and the players are there, and you pass on those nuggets of experience that you have.
Yeah, but also for us to learn from a coaching side. If you look at people like James McFadden now, or Kenny Miller scored a number of goals for Scotland. McFadden now, who's doing a bit of telly and that, to be able to keep up his coaching, because it's been difficult for him to get an opportunity to coach and manage. So if Steve's willing to bring him into the camp and allow him to coach, it keeps up his ambitions to be a manager or a coach instead of being on the telly and doing what he's doing. So I think it's great, and let's say the lads in the squad will learn from the senior players that have been in there before with the past experience of being around Scotland. Yeah,
are you happy with the squad, Tam?
Scotland squad?
Yeah,
I'm happy. I think I think he's very loyal, Steve Clarke. I think we all know that at the minute. It's very difficult.
Do you like loyalty?
To get out. Yeah, I do. I think they've gotten us to a major tournament. Those set of players. We're in the shake-up to get to the World Cup. At least a playoff spot. So I think he's quite entitled to be loyal to the guys that he can trust. There's always going to be people who say, listen, he should be in, and we all speak about that, but I think that he's got a settled squad in there. Sometimes it's nice to have a couple of fresh faces, but listen, as long as Scotland are winning games and doing well, then I don't see any issue with him staying loyal to the players that have done pretty well for him.
Yeah, that was something that I think Craig Brown did to great effect. Ruffy, he had that club feel about it. It was only the odd one or two that would break into the 11, that it was the strongest that he could. Did you have that sense in the World Cup squads that you were involved in?
Yeah, I think once you get a squad, it's important if you can try and keep most of them together, because it doesn't matter if you're club or international. The more you play with somebody, and the guy beside you, or the guy and 4 guys in front of you, you get to know their strengths, their weaknesses. You get to know, when to cover for them, when to know to cover for them, and that's a big part of the game. If you can back up your mate who's beside you, and if you've been playing with him for a long, long time, there is a bond that sort of comes there, and you get to know each other, and I think that's good.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of games that we hope Scotland can take maximum points. Israel on the horizon, and then the Faroe Islands, the next 2 games for Scotland. And Steve Clarke reckons with these 2 games and where we are in the table, we're in a good position.
I think we're in a good position. We've put ourselves in a good position, but there's no point in talking too much about what we can and can't do. We have to do it on the pitch. So let's see what the next 2 games bring. Every game's a cup final. I think when you get into qualification for a World Cup finals, you want to do as well as you can, so you have to pick up points in every single game. There's no other way to look at it.
Yeah, I don't think there was too much aggravation after he'd announced the squad. The only person who really lost the plot, Tam, was Ruffy.
Seen that, seen that.
He lost the plot over John McLaughlin, Xander Clark.
I know.
I lost the plot because obviously from how Xander Clark would be feeling, but he's come out and said the reason that McLaughlin wasn't in the last one is because he had COVID. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And the reason I thought Xander Clark should be in is because McGregor was playing all the games and McLaughlin was wasn't even getting a game for Rangers. And I think somebody who's playing at a top level for the last year deserved to be the number 3. But if it was COVID, then that's fair enough.
But John McLaughlin was in the squad for the Euros, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So that's talking about loyalty again. Mm-hmm. He obviously missed that last camp through COVID.
What about David Marshall?
Yeah, but
where's the loyalty there? He's not playing.
I know, but he's.
I think you have to draw the line somewhere.
He's not even 5th choice now.
Yeah, he's bottom the league with Derby in the administration, and he's not played all season. John McLaughlin's at least played the last couple of games for Rangers.
Yeah, but the last squad he hadn't been playing at all. McGregor had been playing.
But he was loyalty because he had been in because of the squad
the
for
COVID
Euros.
thing, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know the COVID.
Yeah.
If it's COVID, then.
I think the point that you were making though, Ruffy, the effect that it would have on Xander Clark, Callum Davison mentioned, listen, he will be slightly upset at not being involved, but he can't let it affect his overall game.
What I said to me, he can't let his head drop. I said it's a great achievement getting there, and he's got to make sure he gets back. I think for me, he's performed, I said it all probably the last 6 months, in top games, performed at a really high level. So that has to give him a chance to get back in the squad. And I think he's a young goalkeeper in the regard of age. I think he's young, so there's a lot of time ahead of him. And Scotland do need that little bit of a changeover.
Well, I often have a wee chat with Xander up at the supermarket. He's a level-headed boy. I think he'll just get down, do what he does best at St Johnstone, get on with it.
Listen, he'll be disappointed. This was his chance, but I think his performances, have been excellent, well deserved, and getting the opportunity last month. But Steve's obviously went that. But like you said, I don't think he'll be worried too much now. He'll get his head down. Big game on Saturday against Dundee. So the best way to basically show Steve Clarke is playing as well as he can.
I know it's not the official derby because Dundee United's the derby, but there's still a wee bit of needle between Dundee and St Johnstone. And again, you're missing those games, the games that you thrive on. Yeah,
it's a blow, and it's but we're getting there, and every week is changing, so it's good. And I've missed a few big ones, but there's plenty of big ones for the rest of the season. Yeah,
you haven't been training with the squad, but. And it's difficult to give an assessment of Griffiths, but we're now in a situation where he's apologised for the incident, which is fine, but he's been charged with misconduct for kicking the flare at the fans, so that could come with a ban as well. He's got the police to face up to as well, and their charge. It's going to be a difficult time for him again. He's almost put a lot of barriers up on trying to get the first goal for Dundee and get a run of games. He'll be facing December, Charlie, before you're actually maybe Dundee fans are going to see any return from him.
Yeah, because obviously we play Celtic quite in the next month or so as well, so he can't play in that. So it's going to be a difficult time for him, but he just has to keep playing, training as well as he can. Getting fitter, every day, and be ready for when the opportunity comes round again. Yeah,
does these type of things play with your head though, psychologically? A player wants to be right. He wants to be right in his mind. If he's fit, he knows if he's not fit. The accusation towards Griffiths has been he's carrying a bit of weight, wasn't as fit as he should have been, doesn't take care of himself the way he should do, and then suddenly when you've got all this messing with your head, he's not in a good frame of mind for giving Dundee what they want.
No, but he needs to be strong mentally. This is where he's got to, if he's out the team for whatever, if he gets 3 game ban, 5 game ban, he's got to train hard. Yeah. He's got to train hard and train. He's got to look after himself. And then when he does come back into the team, it doesn't take him another 3 or 4 games to get fit again. So he's got to get himself fit. I've been in that situation myself. When you've not played for a while, you come into a team. You know yourself when you're not fit. You know yourself, Charlie. I'll tell you, you've not got that yard to get away from people, particularly as a forward player. But he's got to look after himself. He's got to stay strong mentally. And when he's called upon for Dundee again, whether that's 4 weeks' time, 6 weeks' time, whenever he's ready to come back in, he's sharp and he's ready to play, because James McPake's put a lot of faith in him. So has Dundee as a football club. The fans love him, so he can't let them down.
Yeah.
But he's let himself down again, you know, because all right, Dundee have taken a chance with him, but at the back of his mind that I'm going to go to Dundee, I'm going to score goals, and I'm going to go back to Celtic in January. That's what he should be saying to himself, not letting himself down. You know, he should be positive, and then again, it's backfired on him.
But with all due respect, Ruffy, if any agent worth their salt, his agent would say, listen, you're not going back to Celtic in January. This is your year at Dundee, then you're going to go and sign a deal elsewhere. You might sign it at Dundee. I mean, listen, Ruffy, he's had the 9 lives at Celtic.
If he went up to Dundee and scored regularly and got back to where he was, Celtic, the way they are now, I've got to say to myself, hey, maybe he's worth a chance taking him back again.
No chance.
Well, all I'm saying, he's got to prove that it's a chance, but he's not proven it's a chance.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a difficult one. I agree with you, Tam, on it. I think he's let Dundee down, especially their manager, who needs a Leigh Griffiths, scoring goals and trying to get them out of it. I actually thought, Charlie, your side would have been, difference between a 7th or an 8th position. Suddenly, if you could bang in goals, you're starting to look at 5th. And you're in the top half of the table after you return from the Championship. It's going to be a tough season, and do I hope he gets back to it, Charlie? I think you guys all hope that he's the type of guy that you could pick out on a park, because he makes great runs.
I can't wait to get on the pitch with him, because I know that I'll get him. I'll get him a few goals. I know I will. I'm confident enough that I'll get him them. But the one thing about him is he's coming every day with a smile on his face, and he's enjoying it. Even obviously the setback he's had now with a little bit of an injury, but he's been in every day, he's got a smile on his face, and that's half the battle. When you're enjoying your football and being in an environment that you enjoy, that will take care of itself on the pitch. So hopefully that will eventually come to fruition, but it's a setback for him, but we'll deal with it, and we'll look forward to him coming back.
Yeah. Okay, if you love your football, what game did you watch last night, first and foremost? Ruffy, I decided to take a little leaf out of your book, with the 2 or 3 televisions. I had the phone, which if you take BT Sport officially, you can get it on your phone. You can get it on your phone. So I had the phone with the Liverpool, because I can't desert Liverpool and what they were doing to Porto. They were dismantling them. But on the big telly, it's got to be Paris Saint-Germain, Man City. I mean, they were fantastic. Messi, it was just that one moment you were waiting for, and he delivered.
Yeah, you've seen him doing it with Barcelona on numerous occasions, picking the ball up in the halfway line and still be involved when it gets to the crunch. And that's what he did. He just got the knack of being in the right place in the right time. But for me, the star man was Verratti, the boy in midfield. Unbelievable.
You know what's great about it, Ruffy? You had a whole group of players who were able to play tight triangles. It didn't matter if they were stuck in their own penalty box. The movement.
Both teams try to play at all times. Anywhere in the park, it's great to watch.
Wasn't it?
Verratti's not played for a month as well. Yeah. And just produced 77 minutes of unbelievable.
And the thing for me about PSG is, I've not been convinced over the last few seasons about them defensively, but last night I thought they were outstanding defensively. I thought Hakimi, the right back, had Grealish in the pocket. Couldn't get near him. I thought 2 centre backs. I thought Guy from Everton. I thought he was excellent. Him and Verratti and Herrera sitting in front. And then they just let the front 3 kind of go and do their own thing. But once they lost the ball, it was there was a 3 in front of the 4, and they were very hard to break down. Man City had a ton of the ball, but PSG looked as if they've got a good mix now under Pochettino, so I didn't think they were going to be contenders for the Champions League this year, but that performance last night, I think they will be.
Well, sometimes if you're predicting things, Tam, what you can do is you can pick a team and then just sit with them for 5 or 6 years until they spend
£3 billion and end up buying it.
I would like to introduce you to Alan Roth.
I'll never forget that year I was at Barcelona. They hammered Barcelona. What was it? 4-0. I'm on the phone to him. Oh, this is the year. The next leg.
It was fantastic.
Messi was brilliant that night, no?
Yeah, absolutely. But as soon as Messi picked the ball up last night, as soon as they let him run into the centre of the field, I thought, now you're in trouble.
Yeah, it's just. He's just still got it, isn't he? People doubted him a little bit, and would he be bothered about it? But his first goal, and it's against one of the best teams in England, and he just steps up, like you said. rolls it into Mbappe, flicks around the corner, whips it in the top corner against Ederson. So it's it's brilliant when you see these two teams go at it and they want to play the right way. It's a joy to watch.
Yeah, and no surprise his performance to the Man City manager, Pep Guardiola.
We know that it's impossible to control Leo during 90 minutes, but they were not a lot in touch with the ball. Of course, he came back from some injuries, so that's why he needed a little bit of rhythm, but I know quite well, so when he can run and he can be close to the box, always is unstoppable. The way we have done is minimize as much as possible these kind of actions.
Yeah, incredible there. Ruffy always wants to talk once the
No, I was just when he was on,
talking,
I was just thinking, I was wondering what he actually says pre-game
About
and
Messi?
the team talk about their front three. What do you say? What do you say?
Well, to be
you
fair-
pick him up. You pick him up. You get watch his runs.
Well, I know it was a lovely layoff from Mbappe, but he wasn't. You know, he can absolutely rip you up. But he wasn't at the forefront of it all last night for me, Mbappe.
No, I don't think he's performed to the level.
In the back of poor Euros.
From the Euros, everybody thought he was going to go and explode the Euros. I thought he was poor in the Euros, but I think obviously you've got a lot on your issues of, you know, he wants to go to Real Madrid and, you know, he's going to be the next superstar, but it's just small glimpses that the three of them are starting to combine. But
Absolutely.
Did you see the bit with Kyle Walker's pace when he gets back for with Neymar? It's just unbelievable.
Just to
isn't it?
put him off, yeah. I don't want any of us. I mean, I'm certainly not going to go on a downer, Ruffy, about this, because sometimes you just have to accept where you are in life. I know Tam mentioned the fact that some people have lost a yard. If you never had the yard, you don't get peeved. Exactly. So I don't want any of you guys to get peeved when I show you the photograph of Neymar, Mbappe and Messi after the game. This was on Messi's Instagram, and here's the boys in question. Honestly, Ruffy, you know, that's a six-pack, isn't it? Eh?
Yeah, John Collins could walk about that dressing room, no problem.
He wouldn't be good enough to get in there.
Honestly, Tom, what about that? That's mental, isn't it?
Messi's carrying a wee bit there, he's got a wee bit there. A bit he can pinch. No, Freeman, that's modern day football, isn't it? You've got to be an athlete, and they guys
Ronaldo
are
in the
absolutely
end.
ripped.
Oh, incredible, yeah. I think those three would feel fat next to Ronaldo. Anyway, apart from that, just a sensational picture. As far as last night's concerned, here's all the results from the Champions League, as well as the Paris Saint-Germain result. Ajax dismantled Besiktas without any trouble. 0-0 between Shakhtar and Inter Milan. Leipzig lost to Bruges. And then Porto absolutely battered by Liverpool. I mean, it was just unbelievable yet again. No problems for Liverpool travelling over there. AC Milan defeated by Atletico Madrid, and of course Luis Suarez keeping his cool for the penalty. Borussia Dortmund just edging it against Sporting Lisbon by 1-0. And the big shock, one of the biggest shocks in Champions League history, surely, Real Madrid won, Sheriff 2. Absolutely incredible, that result at the Bernabeu, Ruffy.
Yeah, it just shows you the slide that the two great clubs are on. Barcelona, include them, and then European football. They were always a joy to watch, but they just seem to have lost their magic. And it'll be interesting to see if they can pick themselves up.
I mean, the goal to win it, Charlie, was an absolute peach. I mean, for that club to be able to take on Real Madrid and then defeat them.
Even just, you're thinking it's a little couple of days away in the Champions League, the big game, and to go there and get the result that they got is just phenomenal. And they're top of the league, top of the group, by the way, 6 points they've got. I know they play Inter twice now, and it's obviously going to be tough, but it's the money that they're making on their 2 games, winning the 2 Champions League games, is just going to be massive for them going back into the league.
Dundalk beat them last year in 2020. Sheriff and penalty kicks.
Yeah, but the one thing...
It just shows you how far they've came in the space of a season. From getting beat off with Dundalk,
Moldova they're from, are they?
Yeah, but the one thing I was going to say to you, the thing that sticks in my head about them is, Madrid had chances to win the game. Yeah. Let's be honest about it, Tam. They had chances, couldn't take them. But it always reminds me of Ken Dalglish. He said, if you look back in the history books, the scoreline only says 2-1, and that is etched in history.
Yep, I mean, the goal to win it was unbelievable. I mean, the ball comes out to the boy last minute of the game and bang, top corner, brilliant goal. And I seen him kissing the badge, which was fitting for a team called Sheriff.
Yeah. Oh, dearie me. So close to the end as well. I mean, honestly, that's probably a real indication of going for a sunbed and suddenly your heat's affected.
He's dehydrated.
Absolutely. Let's look at some of the big shocks that down through the years and see where it rates. There you are. Celtic 2, Barcelona 1, of course, in 2012. Liverpool 0, Atalanta 2, Real Madrid 1, Ajax 4, and then Man City 1, Lyon 2. What's a shame.
What about Rangers beating Lyon away in Lyon?
That was a tremendous. For me, that was. There are two results that always stick in my head from that season. Was that result against Lyon was unbelievable, but also Werder Bremen, and
McGregor's save was unbelievable. Honestly, probably one of the biggest downs I had in my life because the boy,
absolutely,
Diego, remember the little midfielder?
Yeah, he was sensational.
Sensational, yeah, and I remember Griggs' save that night.
And Griggs' save, I always remember the boy's name, Boubacar Sanogo was the guy who actually had the. I thought it was in. And it was like Gordon Banks. It was a great save by Alan McGregor that night.
Was it better than his save that he had in the Europa League last season?
The one load in.
Yeah, it's better than that.
It was behind him though.
Yeah, I mean that goal, that looked a certain goal. But Rangers that night, I think Barry, when he was on the show, said he played really well that night. He gets 6 headers. And that was it.
That was in the warm-up, was it?
It must have been.
It wasn't 6 touches because we never got a touch.
I know, that's exactly it. Liverpool were just majestic, yeah.
Great result, never watched it. I was watching a couple of other games on my multi-screen with the stick, so I didn't see the Liverpool game. I didn't tune into my satellite dish from Portugal.
And to be fair, by the way, it's amazing how you can actually see the television with the ultraviolet light tubes in your eyes. I mean, it's so difficult. Here's what's shaping up tonight in the Champions League. Before we get to the Europa League on the Thursday, which will be watching both halves of the Old Firm playing in it. Atalanta against Young Boys, Zenit Malmo, Bayern Munich against Dynamo Kiev, Benfica Barcelona, Juventus Chelsea, or Manchester United Villarreal, Salzburg against Lille, and Wolfsburg against Seville. Of course, there's quite a lot of pressure on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Villarreal were the team that defeated them in last season's European final. And I think Solskjaer says this tie is not a must-win for United, despite their opening day defeat. I think if you would beg to differ.
If you end up with 0 or 1 point after 2 games, you need to win the last 4 probably. So it's still not a must-win game, but it's a very important game, definitely. And as I said, after the Young Boys home games, if you get 3 wins home and you win 1 away game, then you should be through, or you will be through.
Well, I'll tell you, I think he is under pressure, Charlie, do you not?
It's not a must-win, absolutely, it's a must-win.
Yeah.
You're playing at home for Man United against Villarreal, they need to win that tonight, especially with the result against Aston Villa at the weekend.
Yeah.
So, no, I think he is under a bit of pressure.
Ruffy?
Yeah, he's got to win. I mean, every manager, you've got to win games, but the standards that Man United set in Europe and at home, it's a home game. They've got to win it. Supporters demand it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, you can pick your game. You can give us your thoughts on who you think is going to win the overall Champions League. Tomorrow, of course, I think we'll just be finishing tomorrow's programme when Rangers are getting ready to kick off against Sparta Prague, and it's Celtic against Bayer Leverkusen. So fingers crossed we get some positive results in tomorrow's games. We'll look at them in greater detail. We'll discuss some of the breaking stories, get a wee bit of banter, all in the company of Ruffy and Tam Cowan as well. And we'll look ahead to the weekend's games. Charlie's still not ready to get back to full fitness in the Dundee side, but we'll discuss Dundee at the foot of the table and whether they can get a big win against St Johnstone and all the other Premiership matches. Thanks to Alan Ruff, thanks to Charlie Adam, and of course...
Before you finish, I'd just like to wish Hibs ladies all the best tonight, because I think it's a record crowd against Hearts in the
6,000
SWPL, so I hope the Hibs beat the Jambos.
Yeah, are you working at it?
Unfortunately, I'm not getting a gig. I did offer my services.
Did you?
But I'm not through Easter Road tonight, but good luck to the Hibs ladies. I hope they beat them.
Yeah, well done to you, Tam, absolutely. And of course, next week's competition is What colour will Tam be after the third dose on the sunbed? I have to say, Rafi, I have never out of all my mates heard of anyone going on a sunbed. Have you?
And if you live in the East Kilbride area, you'll know whatever house you go by and there's a big blue flashing, lighting up the whole house with Tams.
Or Ali McCoy's. Anyway, thanks to Tam, thanks to Charlie and Ruffy, and from myself, Peter Martin. Thanks to you for watching the programme.